We would like to invite up to the podium our next commencement speaker, Elizah Pinkham, presenting his speech, Emancipation from Procrastination.
As I look out across this fantastic new field today, I see many beloved peers, esteemed faculty members, the administration and West Sonoma County Board of Education members, as well as family and friends, all here today to honor this brilliant class, share gleefully in their happiness, and offer glad tidings to their beaming graduates. I would like to take the liberty to offer thanks to our dear Mr. Heller, a true beacon of success, moving us all through this amazing learning experience that few schools other than Annalee can offer. Few schools other than Annalee. I can't do this. I'm sorry, Miss Maxon. I wasn't ready to come to high school. I was a Waldorf kid. For those of you unfamiliar with this expression, it's one who has a school-imposed social and learning disability. I was horrible at math, typing, social behavior, big crowds, and keeping myself on schedule. So naturally, coming to one of the largest schools in Sonoma County was a huge leap. I didn't know where anything was. The bathrooms, the quad, the pool. Sure as hell wasn't on the roof. I was afraid. This looming monolith of a school represented the even loomier task at hand, graduating. But that wasn't for another 4 years. There wasn't any rush. I'll take my time. Seemed like the kind of thing that would just happen if I waited long enough. That and puberty. I could not wait for puberty. Little did I know I would be taking my graduation by the fully descended cojones and delivering a speech. Preaching like some predisposed prima donna from this prominent pulpit in front of some 5,000 people, parents, photographers, philosophers, pharmacists, pessimists, permaculturalists, pacifists, this entire group of perennial sentimentalists all gathered together to kiss their beloved protagonist goodbye and profess this pretty tremendous exodus. We have all waited for this moment to be free. Free at last from compulsory education. This past amount of time composite of a 4-year duration. Incoming freshman orientation. Tank tops, mini skirts, don't succumb to temptation. Learn rhymes and alliteration. Getting into acclamation. Building up a reputation. Setting out a workstation. That 5th period starvation. Lunchtime. Recreation. Go to prom, have a ball, do some sexy gyration. Some might argue it's degradation, grinding up on one another's one-stop gas station, but afterwards you go home, tired as hell, sleep deprivation. All I want, all I need, like 3 months of hibernation. So I get into bed and perform master procrastination on the essay the next Monday. The synthesis paper on global scale dehydration. Sit down to write, draw on a blank, frustration. Can't manage to sum up the focus, the proper concentration. Where do I put the pagination? Establish that thesis, back it up with information. But Mr. Dave needs this paper on Monday with proper MLA citation. We all procrastinate. I just procrastinated getting to my point with about 20 verses of hot new rhymes. And well, it was undisputedly awesome. My point just didn't come across soon enough. Not unlike graduation, the final emancipation. As I stand here, ready to open up the next chapter of my life, I look back fondly on my last chapter, my high school career. Oh, that's good. I've been taken on so many wonderful adventures through my time here. Miss Fadave. Miss Fadave took me through a literary journey, starting freshman year when we read The Hobbit, also known as her genealogy. I wanted to thank you, Miss Fadave. Now, Miss Fadave wasn't my only teacher to give me a tremendous gift. Mr. Campagno did so as well. He taught me chemistry last year, and I learned a thing or two from him. And I loved every last minute of it. I mean it, Campagno. The last minute of every single one of your classes was just inspirational. Now, not only have teachers had a tremendous effect on my life, but some faculty as well. I'm gonna be real here for a second. There have been times in my life when I've heard whispers of doubt in my ear, that I'll never be good enough, I'll never succeed in whatever I do. And finally, I'd had enough, and I turned around and I said, "Get out of my room, Mr. Heller!" I'd also like to give special thanks to my beloved drama teacher, Star Hergenreiter, for always seeing the best in me and pushing to exceed the limitations that I had set for myself. Thanks, Ricky. Now, there are a few more teachers I'd like to thank as well, who are leaving us, retiring with us, our fellow graduates. I invite the graduating teachers to please stand as I list off their names, so we can all take a moment to honor them. To these teachers, it really has been a pleasure working together. Mr. Chris Heller, 8 years at Anley. Miss Lori Fadave, 17 years. Miss Bonnie Thomas, 20 years. Mr. Bob Cullinan, 25 years. Mr. Joe Campagno, 35 years. And Mr. Dave Weiss, 36 years at Annalee. Now I invite all of you graduating teachers moving on today to go out there and make something of your lives. It's about damn time. Now, in the spirit of procrastination, I waited till the day that this draft was due to even start working on it. And that really lit a fire under my butt. So I know a thing or two about procrastination. If they wanted someone to come up here and talk about something they didn't know about, they would have invited Mr. Weiss to give us all a chemistry lecture. A famous person once said, "Why put off until tomorrow what you can do today?" And they make a compelling point. But off the top of my head, I can think of over 3,000 reasons to put something off. Maybe it's because I gotta finish this level of Candy Crush Saga, or I gotta finish this new season of Game of Thrones, or in the case of many of our beloved freshman girls, I can't even. The list goes on and on. Besides, procrastination is efficient. It's as an even wiser man once said, "Why do today what you can do tomorrow? For then you have today free." And the most sage saying of all, if you wait until the last minute, then it only takes a minute. And procrastination's kind of cozy too. It's like waking up in the morning and just laying there, thinking of all the tasks of the day, all the saved up homework, and regretting that late night mate break because right about now my bladder is as stretched out as one of Mr. Risley's chemistry lectures. Now, I'm not going to college next year. A four-year college, that is. But I'm sure you've all seen my naked grad cap by now. I, like many, many others here today, am going to attend the JC in the fall and see where that takes me. And while this sounds like it's going to be an amazing experience, and I'm glad that I'll have the time, and I'm grateful that I have the resources to do this, it wasn't entirely by choice. I waited too long to apply to colleges. I was afraid of my future and not ready to grow up. I was afraid of getting rejected, afraid of not having the grades, the money, the talent. I was even afraid of the application process. And all this fear got me nowhere. Now, I wrote this speech because I was afraid. I was afraid of missing an opportunity to address thousands of people, make them laugh, and hopefully make them think. I also came up here because I was as afraid of doing it as much as I was not doing it. And while I was writing this speech, I was desperately trying to come up with a moral, and I think I got one. The takeaway here is to not let fear rule you, not to let uncertainty and nervousness dictate your decisions. The thing about the future is it's temporary. It doesn't stay tomorrow for long. Just like yesterday's tomorrow is now today, today's tomorrow will soon be yesterday. Next year's last year is now, this year's last year is 2 years ago's next year, today is tomorrow eve. This year's freshmen are next year's sophomores, this year's sophomores are next year's juniors, this year's juniors are next year's seniors, and we, this year's seniors, this vast class of 2016 are the next year's lawyers, doctors, musicians, nurses, male nurses, activists, bankers, factory workers, actors, IT people, politicians, bag boys, taxi drivers, and parents, the inhabitants of the so-called real world, the promised land. Now, I've never gone into the real world before, and I suppose we're all in the same boat. 300 strong, we're like the Titanic. Too big to fail as we set off and set sail. That wasn't the best simile, but my point is the same. As we all go out into the world, not a single one of us is too big to fail. But if we put off the opportunity to succeed because we are afraid, then that is the biggest failure of all. Thank you.